We're also going to be demonstrating our brand new file level recovery. Your speakers today are going to be Alex Barajas and Eric Linane. Just a few housekeeping issues for you. If you have questions throughout the presentation, just go ahead and enter them into the chat menu or the questions menu, and I will get to those at the end of the presentation. Okay, Eric.
Great. I want to thank everybody for attending. This is going to be a pretty brief session. Usually we take a half hour or less to get this done. I'm going to show the agenda real quickly. What we do is we typically offer a quick architectural overview, do the demo of both a DR system and the file level backup, and address questions. I typically start off a little bit with the architecture, giving an overview. Quick background on our company: we are a service provider for DR applications in the cloud, and we've optimized this application to offer guaranteed recovery times, as well as simplified management and monitoring of the disaster recovery environment, as well as file level and other recovery solutions for the enterprise. Our terms and conditions are optimized for it, and our pricing is very focused on providing that service at a very economical cost point. To jump right in, we have a hybrid, for the DR system, we have a hybrid deployment. We offer an appliance that goes on site. This is a 40 terabyte unit with 48 gigabytes of RAM. We use agent-based technologies to replicate from a virtual environment to this local cloud appliance, and that is also applied to physical environments as well. This appliance then replicates to our remote facilities in Dallas or Ashburn, the VMDKs that are present in your production network. We put these on 3 different VLANs, or giving you the option for 3 different VLANs. What's important about this is the test VLAN allows you to spin the environment up without impacting production whatsoever and really verify the specifications of our terms. If a major event occurs, instead of spinning up in the test, you spin it up in our production LAN. And at that point, a simple promote operation happens where all transactions will be conducted from a new facility. This is valuable if you suffer a major outage, such as a power failure or a hurricane, something of that nature. We also run a copy of your Active Directory in our remote facility, so failovers facilitated and DNS entries are automatically failed to the new production environment. This allows us to achieve a recovery time objective for entire data centers of less than 2 hours, and we are able to back that up with our terms and conditions. Additionally, security is a very important concept, and the way we've laid out our system is in a multi-tenant architecture. In a sense, you want to think of our solution as your own virtual private colo. You get the economic benefits of a service-based model, but you maintain the control and privacy that you would expect if you own the system yourself. The customers come in through a VPN or MPLS through our core infrastructure, which is N+1. Each deployment gets their own firewall, private VLANs, and private vSAN. This is extremely important because having that data logically partitioned and basically ownership of that data separated from other customers does not allow any one customer to impact anybody else. And breaches or data requests from government organizations will not impact anybody in our system. Essentially, data is not commingled in the DR system. Along with the system is thousands of gigabytes of RAM available to you at a moment's notice if you need to fail over your entire facility. So if you're running an environment with 200, 300 gigabytes, that will be available if you suffer a major event. We provision capacity based on regional failures. For example, we may have 10 customers in Seattle. They may require a total of like 5,000 gigabytes to run in the remote facility in Dallas. If Seattle's impacted by a major event, we'll be able to run all those customers simultaneously according to our SLA. This allows us to offer that level of service without preemptive access rights because we have enough capacity available. I think the point of this is that you have a high level of control. We do not see the data, and you are actually physically and logically partitioned from the other customers from within our facility. I'm going to go right into the demo now. What we're looking at here is kind of a recovery console. And the point of the recovery console is a simplified environment, taking diverse technologies and putting them together to provide a disaster recovery application that's easy to use. The way people currently do things today is they take multiple point technologies and then they have to activate certain things and bring it up in a certain manner. They're very difficult and complex. We've automated a lot of that process and put it in a simple view for you to manage and activate. The most important part of this is the recovery point objective here on the right-hand side. You see at a glance whether your systems are bootable in both remotely as well as locally. This gives you a peace of mind and allows you to test at any time these environments so that you know that you can spin up at a moment's notice and achieve your RPO objectives. You have the ability to define this by various locations, your local locations as well as the remote locations, and various tiered structures. You may have different data tiers where you may have some servers that need to be recovered within an hour or less than that, and then you may have others that may go 4 hours or even 24 hours. If you're running live services in our remote facilities such as Active Directory or Exchange DAG, you're able to see alerts based on CPU utilization and RAM utilization. And we'll send you emails as well as list them here. We track data growth, allowing you to kind of look at the various aspects of your snaps over time to kind of assess how much data you're using and what your growth rates are. This is great for trending, and we break it out by storage, snapshot size, and percentage, as well as any volumes you've created and any primary services that you're running. We also offer you the ability to track any events in the system. So we log all actions. So that they've logged in, created a server, whatnot. This is great for auditing purposes, and it allows you to really review and provide to compliance boards any activities that you are performing on your data. And then on the right-hand side, you have what you bought. So you can track exactly what you're using according to what you contracted for. What I'm going to illustrate now is the actual activation of data as well as servers, both locally and remotely. What I'm looking at here is 4 servers. This represents both my local environment on the appliance as well as in my remote facility. What I'm going to focus on initially is the local environment. If I want to grab a file, just mount that disk and grab a file, all I have to do is go into the server, and I can activate this as an iSCSI target or as a CIF share. I'm going to grab a timestamp of a couple hours ago because maybe I was hit by a virus. I'm going to go ahead and activate this as an iSCSI target. It'll then go through this process. You give it an initiator node name, and it'll begin that process of mounting its storage. Once it comes online, you'll be able to access those files based on that snapshot. Takes a couple minutes, and we'll see that come on here fairly quickly. In a lot of cases, I'd say 99% of the operations are conducted from the local cloud appliance, recovering files, maybe an Exchange server or a file server gets knocked down. That capacity on the box is 48 gigabytes of RAM included and allows you to spin servers up directly on that box. I'm going to do that now. As you see, this thing's ready. It's meeting its RPO objectives. It says it's bootable. We're ready to go ahead and spin this up. Very similar action. I'm going to grab the latest good timestamp. I'm going to activate it. Instead of activating it as just a data volume, I'm going to activate it as a server. It's going to ask me which network we want to put it into. We have multiple networks to choose from in this case, and this will represent your internal LAN structure. So you don't have to fail over to a remote facility if you just lost a server or something minimal has happened. I'm going to go ahead and activate this. And if you compare this process to building a server, recovering from tape, building it up, attaching to the network, you're going to find that this will happen in a far shorter time period. Usually this takes anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes to happen locally, and it is very rapid. So you can continue operations while you're recovering your services. So as you see, that server's already begun to start. It's powering on. And once it hits a solid green, you'll be able to access it. I see that I have that going right here, as well as the test has also been brought up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to illustrate a remote recovery. In the remote environment, this will represent the off-site facility at nScaled. I'm going to show you the actions to bring the server up. The exact same as if we were spinning them up on the local cloud appliance. Again, a similar window. Grab your latest good timestamp. I'm going to go ahead and activate the server. What's interesting here is that I can bring this up in 2 different types of a mode. Test mode allows you to bring it up verify the application, and this is very valuable to your business users. You'll be able to verify that they can spin their application up according to plan in your disaster recovery process. This gives them the peace of mind that the system is recoverable and it can be tested at any time. If we're a major failure, you bring it up into our production LAN. At that point, a promote button will appear, and you'll be able to cut the entire system over to the new facility in an automated fashion. I'm going to bring this up and test. And again, you'll see the exact same process that occurred on the local cloud appliance occur here as well. It's going through that complex process of acquiring the IPs, building the services, validating the IP, mounting the snapshot, powering on the server. Once it's powered on, you'll be able to continue production operations by clicking the promote button, and then all new transactions will be going from our remote facility. As you see how kind of rapidly this goes through that process. One other thing I kind of wanted to mention is we also offer active services. So you may be running Exchange DAG or clustered DMS environment. We allow the ability to run that in our remote facilities as well with an active service. And we will work with you to kind of configure your clustered applications in a manner that work for you. In a lot of cases, we see kind of a combination of Exchange, like active services as well as active passive. It really depends on the RPO and the RTO objectives that you're trying to achieve. From a monitoring perspective, you have any live services, you get RAM and CPU. And these are emailed to you as well as represented here. What I'm going to move on to now is, and that's basically the DR system kind of in a nutshell. As you can see, it's very straightforward and easy to use. What you'll find is that by having a simple system like that, it's going to ensure that your recovery is successful. That's important because during major events, a lot of resources may or may not be available. Classic. So what's nice about that is that you always be assured that anybody can do it. I'm a sales guy, and I've just spun up servers both remotely as well as locally. So help desk personnel can do this very rapidly. And you don't need a tremendous amount of expertise or disaster recovery knowledge to bring this system online. I think the key takeaways for this is that we offer an SLA for the servers to really eliminate that uncertainty of bringing up a remote facility, 15 minutes per server, 2 hours for the entire data center, and a simplified environment that takes a lot of technology and combines it under a simple application. It's easy to use and guarantees that you're going to come back online. Behind this system is a very extensive support staff that will help you respond during an emergency. We have disaster recovery people, we have storage people, networking people that will respond to help bring your systems back online according to your environment. During this implementation process, we build out a runbook with you, and we keep a copy of it so that if you do need that support, you can just make a phone call to us, and we'll bring your environment back online. Also throughout this process, we work with you to kind of configure it so that your end users have the access to it in a logical manner, whether that's through a VPN failover or if that's through MPLS connections. We really kind of customize this for the client's end use. What I'm going to move on to now is our file level recovery solution. And this is kind of more focused on replacing backup technologies. Again, it's a very simple environment that allows you to take SIF shares and back them up to our remote facilities. This is an encrypted at rest type scenario, and it allows you to recover files instantaneously with version control, and we have the ability to implement write once, read many, warm compliance. This meets a lot of federal regulations related to financial, like Rule 17.4-A, as well as legal holding compliance, Sarbanes-Oxley, and HIPAA requirements for data storage in remote facilities, as well as the ability to recover them very rapidly. What I'm looking at here is kind of a list of the SIF shares that I've got backed up. If I want to, I can go into any one of these. I'm going to look at documents. And from a help desk person, I can just grab a document and very rapidly restore it. I can take this subscription document and go ahead and download it, restore, or even show it. I can actually restore the entire volume if I'd like. And I can go ahead and restore the entire volume. What's going to happen there it's going to ask me from what restore date I want to do this, the timing, and what to do with that volume, whether to overwrite or add this to it. You'll be able to select a path to restore this to, and that would be another CIF share. Add your username, password, and domain, and go ahead and restore this. We have different access level controls to this solution. So if you have a requirement for auditors to have access into it, they could take a lower user access control to this, and they would only be able to view as well as download files. Or you may have a super user access to it that would control the creation of volumes and the retention periods that they're under. This really helps you achieve those regulations that you need to have in place. You also have some of the ability to kind of generate disk on the fly. So what you do here is part of our disaster recovery component is that we have long-term retention. And this is really for agent-based replication that needs to be retained longer than a disaster recovery period. Typically, a disaster recovery period is anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days. Some people may want to keep like SQL volumes beyond that. They'll want to keep it out to 7 years or 3 years. It really just depends. This is kind of a way to build out a long-term retention array that allows you to keep those databases in an available format over time. Let me give it a quick name. And again, this is very simple and easy. IQN name. I'm sorry, I mistyped that. And then just give it a amount of space. And again, that storage is really available to you in a rapid fashion. What's really nice about this is you don't have to wait weeks to provision disk. You can just go ahead and generate this on the fly. You don't need to do any additional contracting with us. We can build this as needed, and it's very, very easy for you to use. From the support area, I think I talked a little bit earlier about our emergency response team. We also have the ability to open tickets and kind of assist you on any items that you might have problems with. For example, we have a list of available resources to you, such as how the disk agents are installed, how to implement Exchange DAG, clustered resources, things of that nature. You can also open up tickets here, and we'll address them very rapidly. A lot of cases, customers will want to go ahead and address specific volume sizes, and if they may have something coming forward that requires a significant amount of storage, they'll want to notify us first. We deal with a lot of other aspects of the documentation here as well, doing information gathering and really kind of tailoring the system to your environment. So what we're looking at here essentially is two different types of solutions. The first solution is DR specific, and that is really allowing you to recover those files in a guaranteed manner, 15 minutes per server, 2 hours for the entire data center. And then file level recovery, which is more intended to replace backup tapes, things of that nature, and it's really oriented towards CIF shares and file level recovery only. The way I kind of look at it is you may have a critical system that would go on the DR, and then you have everything else. So you're able to kind of segment your data according to how you want it backed up and stored. And they both have different price points. The DR system obviously is a little more expensive, but the file level recovery is very economical and allows you to kind of take unstructured data and protect it in a very logical fashion. So that's ultimately kind of the extent of our demo right now. I'm going to go ahead and open this up to questions. All right. Are there any questions?
Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and enter them into the question box right now. We still have just a few more minutes for questions. Okay, and the first question is from Mike. He would like to know if I can hand out a recording after. And sure, yes, I will go ahead and do that. The next question is coming from, let's see. The next question is actually no questions.
Actually, I see one question here. Someone asked me if this looks like a work with physical servers, and I want to answer that real quickly. I'm going to answer that from this slide. Let me back up a little bit. I'm sorry. With the DR system, we offer an agent-based replication. So we put an agent on the physical server, and it really allows you to put those agents on Windows servers as well as a variety of other servers and replicate that to it. In a sense, it takes that physical to virtual migration. So by doing that, we actually migrate that workload to a virtual environment, and then you can test and spin it up to verify it will operate in an appropriate fashion. Okay, that's another question. Our support hours are 24/7. I'm not seeing these questions too easy.
Okay, and that question was from Matt. Matt has a follow-up question, and he's asking, since most emergencies seem destined for after hours, is human support something we can always count on? Yes, Matt, 24/7 support. We've got a full team here located in California, willing to help out at any time.
Yeah, to give you kind of an example, I mean, we had a couple of people fail over during some power outages, and we were able to, and typically the call comes in around 3 a.m. and they got to get ready for the next business day. Our emergency response team responds throughout the incident, helping them bring the system back online, and they usually end up working through the night with clients to kind of bring them to a state where they're comfortable with moving forward the production environment. So we're always accessible.
Great. Okay, and there's another question. This one is from Lincoln. Lincoln asks, how do you manage SAN fabric replication?
So we do have some technology related to that. Right now we're using a NetApp foundation, and we use SnapMirror to do the replication between volumes. That's very specific. That's will be integrated into our console in 2013, second quarter. Technology available today. From a general perspective, we're trying to work more towards a SAN replication model, but we're looking at other environments like EMC, HP, and other popular environments, Hitachi. Let me know if that answered the question.
All right, and that looks like those were all of the questions we had. So I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today, and also I wanted to thank our two speakers, Eric and Alex. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
You're going to